Why is it the remix? Because about 10 years ago, one of the first videos I ever posted was called How to Shoot a Powerful Draw Shot. It got over 1.2 million views. And looking back on it, the production level was not very good. It was 10 years ago. And some of the information that I posted in that video, I am updating and adding to. The good news is this shot with the balls this far apart on a 9-foot table where you need to draw the cue ball all the way back here after making a ball is not a shot you're going to have to shoot very often. That's the good news. The bad news is if you don't have that shot, there's a lot of other things you cannot do with the cue ball, including a dynamic force follow, a draw shot with English when you're moving into different positions. There are about 8 to 10 individual things that you need to do to have a really strong draw shot. And I'm going to give them to you today. And the bonus is, if you do these things with your draw shot, your follow shot, your stop shot, your draw shot with English, all of those things are going to benefit from these same skills. So number one on our list is a level cue. What do we mean by a level cue? It means when you get down on the shot, you want to have your cue as level as possible given the circumstance. So if I get down on the shot here, you can see my cue is almost totally horizontal. Now, the edge of the table will make a difference in how level I can get my cue, obviously. And every time we talk about a level cue, I usually get a comment or a question from a beginner that says, I don't understand. I see you shooting these draw shots and I then see you with this jacked up cue. Well, the reason our cue is jacked up in those situations is because we are either so close to the rail that we can't hit our contact point, or there is a ball in front of us and we can't get to our contact point without jacking up. People tell me, oh, Bob on my team has a good draw shot and he's jacked up one every time he shoots it. Well, Bob would be much, much better if he learned to level his cues. Number two, the reason our cue is level is because we're going to be hitting this ball extremely low. We're not going to hit under the ball. When you scoop the ball, and every one of you has had this happen to you, okay? Albin Ocean had this happen to him 2 days ago and on the world stage. If your chalk sucks or your tip sucks, you may occasionally miss cue, but it is usually not the reason you're scooping the ball. You're scooping the ball because you're hitting under the ball. I've said it 1,000 times. You're not going to scoop the ball by hitting it low. We're hitting this extremely low. I'm going to show you right now on the screen just how low I'm hitting it. That said, if you do things wrong and end up under the ball, then you're going to scoop it. The guy that has to slam the ball in order to draw it back 12 inches is not hitting it low enough, not hitting it with enough finesse, not hitting it with good follow-through, and probably not hitting it with a level cue. On the subject of hitting the ball low, how low are we hitting it? Here's an illustration. Here's a rule of thumb for you. This ball is a little bit past the halfway point on our table. If you can't hit the ball this soft and draw it back, you're not hitting it low enough with enough of a level cue, with enough follow-through, which we're going to talk about in a second. A lot of you are going to miscue and miscue often while you're learning this shot, but I'm going to teach you how to get the miscues out of your life and how to learn this shot without sending a bunch of balls flying off the table. Let's look at our next item. One of the factors that keeps people from being able to shoot a proper draw shot is follow-through. This is a big factor, guys. We are putting backspin on that cue ball, which means we have to shoot through it. How would I shoot if the tip of my cue had to go through the cue ball itself? I would follow through. If you were trying to punch a hole in something, you wouldn't go like this and jab at it and pull your cue back. And you will have a full half second, if not a full second, depending on the distance, to get your cue out of the way. In the meantime, the cue needs to travel through and past that cue ball, but it will differ with the shot, the amount of energy that you have to put on it, and your situation at the table. On top of follow-through is also staying down on the shot. If you are jumping up on the shot, then you are not going to have a good draw shot. One of the keys to being able to shoot a good draw shot is hitting the cue ball in the proper location. Now, where is the proper location? We already talked about it. It is at the lowest point you can without hitting under the ball. Now, here's the rub, as Bill Shakespeare would say. If you think you're hitting it as low as possible, but you're not really hitting it there, all bets are off. It doesn't matter. The difference between you hitting it where you think you're hitting it and actually hitting it where you need to hit it may be millimeters apart, which is enough to keep you from being able to execute the draw shot. So, how do you make sure you're actually hitting it where you need to hit it and not just 12, 13 millimeters in some cases above that target spot that you're aiming for? You can do a couple things. Number one, to make sure you learn to hit it in that spot, slow your warm-up strokes, your practice strokes down, guys. Watch the best players in the world. They're making little micro strokes right before they hit the ball. But these very quick 3 and 4 mile an hour strokes don't really show us exactly where we're hitting the ball. So slow down. Get yourself little micro strokes where you can see where you're going to actually hit the ball. And I'm going to, hopefully, if it's in stock, I will leave a link to one of the best training balls on the market that will leave a little blue spot from your chalk or green or whatever color your chalk is on the ball to show you where you're really hitting it, because this is essential. Every one of you who is trying to shoot this shot has been told by someone, you need to have a longer bridge. That's a power shot. You need to have a longer bridge. You need a longer bridge if you've got a really good stroke. You see the best players in the world with these long bridges, and you think that's where your bridge is supposed to be. I've said in other videos, no, that's not your bridge. That's your bridge if you have a perfect stroke. Do you have a perfect stroke? Shorten your bridge. If you shorten your bridge, you will still get the power. And the reason you will get the power is because now you are actually hitting the cue ball where you want to hit it. The longer your bridge, the more likely you are to hit the ball too high, too low, too far to the left or to the right than you intend. As you get better and better and your stroke gets better and better and you start hitting the ball more precisely, you will have a longer bridge because it will allow you to put even more power on the shot. But in the meantime, guys, if you're not getting the draw, one of the things you need to add in there is shorten up your bridge. 1, 2, 3 diamonds away. Straight shot in the corner pocket. Here's my natural bridge. It is about 12 inches away from this ball. I am going to now put it 6 inches away from this ball. And you can see I can still draw the cue ball all the way back. Shorten your bridge, you will be surprised. It will change a lot of things for you. Let's look at something else. Another very important tip that's going to help you guys is timing. You want the tip of your cue accelerating as you hit the ball. You do not want to decelerate your stroke as you're going through the cue ball. Timing is very important, and again, it is more about cue speed. You do not want the tip of your cue decelerating as you're hitting the shot, and that's where a lot of these choppy strokes and these lack of follow-throughs and things like that come from. So focus on allowing your cue to go all the way through the shot without any hesitation. While we're on the subject of your bridge, a lot of you have an open bridge. Many modern elite players shoot with an open bridge. On, I would say, about 60% of my shots, 70 maybe, I have an open bridge. But on that long draw shot, I have a closed bridge. Why? Because a closed bridge is more forgiving. And a lot of you, if you fall into the intermediate level of player, one of the things that happens with your open bridge is your cue tip is coming up in the air when you shoot. If your cue tip is coming up in the air as you shoot, then guess what? You can't hit the ball low and you can't follow through properly. If you're having trouble with your draw shot, if you're having trouble with your long draw shot, make a closed bridge. It is okay to go back and forth. Can I execute the shot with an open bridge? Of course I can. Would I shoot it for $1,000 with an open bridge? Absolutely not. This is a formula that I talked about in the previous video, and it is key, guys. Your grip hand should not be ultra tight. I know a lot of you are gripping the cue way too tight. Jasmine has a great analogy. I'm sure she didn't make it up, but it is a great analogy, and I quote her all the time with this. I give her credit for it, but I know she didn't make it up. Anyway, it is the baby bird grip. Hold the cue like you would a baby bird. You wouldn't hold it so tight that you would crush it, but you don't want to hold it so loose that it can get out of your hand. That's how you should be holding the cue. You don't need to hold it with 3 fingers like you see here. You can get every finger on the cue. I tend to get all but my pinky on the cue. It reminds me to not hold the cue too tight. So I let my finger stick out over the cue and not grip the cue with my pinky, whether I'm shooting a draw shot, a masse shot, you name it. That's where our grip is. Where's your bridge? If you do go to the closed bridge, which I recommend if you're shooting a long draw shot, a power draw, if you go to the closed bridge, what you want to have is the tightest bridge you can have and have the cue still move fluidly through your fingers. If you're playing with a glove, that's going to be pretty easy. If you're playing with carbon fiber, that's going to be pretty easy. You can make a very tight grip and still have the cue move smoothly, unless your hands are sticky. Why are your hands sticky? Anyway, so the tightest bridge you can make and still have the cue move fluidly, the loosest grip you can have back here where you're still holding the cue is not going to fly out of your hand. So I do know that you can shoot draw shots without having the proper tip condition, but you want to have the proper tip condition, which means it is curved like a dime or a nickel. Most top players are using a dime curve. What this means is it has the curvature of a dime. If you were to put a dime next to it, they are both curved that much. I use a very particular tip tool to shape my cue. A lot of you have heard me talk about the Last Forever tip tool. I love this thing. They do not pay me to endorse it. They need to. But in the meantime, I love this thing. So how do you go from not being able to shoot a draw shot at all to being able to shoot this draw shot? Now, those of you who watch this channel, you know exactly what I'm going to tell you. Progression and drills. What I care about is that you can draw the ball properly. This is the acid test. Why do I call this the acid test? We put 3 balls across the halfway point on the table. We are on a 9-foot table, but if you're on a 7-foot table, do the exact same thing. Just shoot a draw shot and bring the cue ball back here to the rail. Why do I call it the acid test? Because if you do anything wrong, you can't execute the shot. And it exposes you. So if I get down on this shot and I line up for the shot and I don't bring the ball back here, I hit it too low and scooped it, which didn't happen. I didn't hit it low enough, which didn't happen. Or I hit it inaccurately, which didn't happen. If it goes in the pocket, I probably did everything correct. The only thing you can do wrong, by the way, and still pull these off, is if you're jacked up too much. And if you're jacked up too much, you might actually get the shot off, but get it level. You're going to make a lot more shots and you're going to miss cue less and you're going to be a much better player. So level out your cue. But let's talk about what you can do when you have a long, powerful draw shot. First off, it means you can make the short one, right? If you can shoot it the length of the table, you can probably make the short one unless you're hitting the ball way too hard, then you can't shoot the short ones. Right. It also allows you to shoot the draw shot with English. So if I'm playing the 4 ball and I need to get down here on the 7 ball, so I need to draw the cue ball back here to the rail with left hand English, being able to shoot the long draw shot is what allows me to shoot that short little draw shot with all of this left hand English that brings me down here and allows me to get on the 7 ball. It also allows you to shoot the much longer versions of this shot. This is the most rapid way to learn to shoot a powerful draw shot, to learn to shoot any draw shot properly. Take an object ball, put it 1 diamond away from the head string. Those of you that don't know, it is also called the kitchen. You put an object ball 1 diamond away and you get down on it and you shoot it down table. Accuracy is not essential here. What you're doing is you are racing the cue ball back here before the object ball gets here. Looks easy, right? It is easy unless your draw shot sucks. Anywhere past this halfway point, you're at very close to expert status. Why does this work to train you for your draw shot? Because if you hit the ball too hard to execute a draw, guess what happens? Your object ball beats your cue ball back here to the rail. Oh, looked like a tie. So halfway point down the table on a 9-foot table. If you're on a 7-foot table, you might need to move this ball out further. But here's the great thing about the race. You can shoot 500 of these in the time that it takes you to shoot balls in the pockets and practice your draw shot over and over again. I know you want to run to the table right now and shoot a 7-foot draw shot. Don't try to go from you just learned how to draw at 12 inches and now you're trying to draw at 7 feet. You're just going to embarrass yourself and you're not getting anywhere. You do not just sit down on a table, look at a video, and go and shoot these long draw shots. You need to build up to this, guys.
Hey there, ready to elevate your pool game? Whether you're moving from intermediate to advanced or you're aiming to become a local legend, we've got you covered. Join us for exclusive in-person lessons, master classes, and personalized Zoom sessions. This is your chance to experience the magic with tailored coaching from Bryan, no matter where you are, even if you don't have a pool table at home. So why wait? Sharpen your fundamentals, master strategic play, and boost your mental game. Visit FXBilliards.com now to learn more and take the next step in your pool journey. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit like, leave a comment, and subscribe to FX Billiards for more tips and tricks.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and your teammates. Check out this next video. If this helped you, then the next one is definitely going to help you. And check out our master classes at FXBilliards.com.